everyone, it's Christina again from Card Creations and More by C, and I wanted to go ahead and finish up the owl keychain that we're working on. The next step is the Modge Podge, and I just have this small bottle. Right now it looks like there's a lot that somehow got put to the top, so hopefully that's enough to get me started. I'm going to be using a small paintbrush, just one that I got from the craft department. But before I do that, what I want to do is take my zig pen, and sometimes when I Modge Podge I find that the layers like to separate, so in order to prevent that I take my zig and I just go ahead and run some just directly on the edge. The nice thing about the zig pen is it does dry clear too, even though it starts out blue, and it dries quickly. So you just kind of put a light coating, just kind of seals it over, and it doesn't take very long to do that. Okay, so that part's done, and then the next thing I'm going to do is, just so you know, we're only going to be doing 1/2 at a time, and I did go ahead and added some stickles to the little owl's eyes for a little eyeshadow. Looks wicked cute, and so we're going to go ahead and just start. First thing I like to do is I'm just going to pick 1/2. I like to do the edges first again. And so we just kind of start with a light layer of Modge Podge around all the edges and just go from there. So I'm just going to kind of take it down to right here, down where the wing starts will be the bottom half. So, and then once I do that, I just kind of start lightly putting it right on the owl. And just sort of brush it around. If you hear those hiccups, that's my husband in the background. And I'm going to go right over the eyes, right over top of the stickles and everything. It dries in nice. I try not to get it too clumpy, but right at the beginning it doesn't really matter that much. Take it and swirl it inside the hole for the keychain. This way that layer's done too. And you could probably use like a little bit bigger paintbrush, but I just have this little one handy. Usually I can never get the Modge Podge washed out of my paintbrushes, so they're usually a one-time use type of paintbrush, unfortunately. So I'm going to go ahead and start bringing it right down to about here. And I know some of you left me comments and said that you weren't getting your keychains to look as smooth as mine were. I'm not really sure why, but I don't know. Hopefully I can help you with that a little bit. And then I'm going to start working on the back side. And it looks like I got a little something. Sometimes you might notice some little lint or something gets into your project, so you just want to wash that away if that happens. Or sometimes a little bristle from your paintbrush might get stuck, and I just take some very fine tweezers to get that off. And I just sort of brush it on, and then I'll probably just come back here again and start another coat on the side. So I just kind of keep going around everything till I've gotten a good couple of coats on it. And that's usually pretty good. I don't do, like, somebody told me that they were doing like 8 coats of Modge Podge, but I don't. I just do about 2 or 3, and I kind of do it all at once, and then, because usually by the time I get back to the part it's practically dry, so I'm just gonna go ahead, got it all around the eyes. Nice. Get that out of the edge, it's a little bit too much. If you need to, I just do this over a piece of white paper, so this way if I need to dab some of it off for some reason I can. And we're just going to go ahead once again and put a little bit more on here. And I think Modge Podge goes a really long way. I've done several projects from this little bottle and I haven't even really put a dent in it yet. So it definitely lasts. I don't think you need to go buy the biggest container, just get the cheapest one to start with. if you don't have a lot that you're doing with it. And as you can see, to try to smooth it out, I'm just sort of going over it, kind of try to get a lot of the excess off, and then I just sort of go over it in one direction, kind of smooth and quick. Okay, and I usually have pretty good luck with that. Now the front is a little bit harder with that because there's so many little grooves and indents, but I just try my best, and then what I'll do is I'll sort of swirl it around like the edges so that it doesn't look like it's as gooped up, and you just sort of take it like that, go around the edge of the beak a little bit, up in here, just kind of swirl the paintbrush, and it sort of takes out some of that excess for you. So that's what I do, and then I just sort of try to smooth it out a little bit. Just kind of get it going in like one main direction, and you're going to end up, it's going to look quite white to start with, but when it does dry, it is going to be dry and clear. And just make sure you didn't miss anything. And then next what I do is I take this little binder clip that I have, actually it's one that I decorated, and I just stick my owl or whatever critter it is, hopefully you can see that, I stick it right in there and I just stand it up to dry. And this way nothing's touching it while it's drying. So I go ahead and do that, and I'm going to put the cap back on this, and hopefully my Modge Podge doesn't dry onto my paintbrush too badly yet. Got a little bit on my finger, so I'm just going to take my pickup square and get that off. Okay, that is it for right now. I'm going to be back with part 3 and show you how to do the bottom half. Thanks.